Let's turn to news back home now, to the latest on the flood situation in northern New South Wales. Wilson's River in Lismore is now receding after reaching a peak of 11.4 metres yesterday. That is the third highest in 48 years. The search for a 55-year-old aged care nurse is ongoing after she was trapped in her car and reported missing south of Lismore. Joining us live now is the New South Wales SES Assistant Commissioner, Kearns. Sean, I appreciate your time. What is the situation now on the ground in Lismore and the other regions that have been hit so hard by this latest flooding event?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Ash. Yeah, the situation in Lismore is the river has peaked and we are starting to see it recede. It is still going to take some time before it drops down below that major flood level. And the same with a number of other river systems in that Northern Rivers and Mid-North Coast area. We currently have 19 evacuation orders out across the Northern Rivers and Mid-North Coast, with 9 evacuation warnings still in place. So that still is impacting a significant number of people and communities in that Mid-North Coast area. The good news is that the rain has eased off, that really heavy, constant rain, as that low has moved off the coast. There is still a warning out, though, for potential severe thunderstorms. So what that can lead to is isolated pockets of intense heavy rainfall. Now that intense heavy rainfall, given that the ground is so saturated and falling in such a short period of time, can lead to flash flooding. So we still do ask people to be aware of their surroundings, to travel and act according to the conditions, and to also follow the evacuation orders and the warnings that are in place.
We were just showing our viewers some pictures from the city centre of Lismore. Can you give us a sense of just how widespread the damage and destruction has been with this event?
Yeah, look, again, that damage has, with it overtopping, has inundated a number of businesses and homes that were only recently impacted. So at this stage, we still haven't been able to get in to do any further assessments. So we're still waiting for that information, but we do have a number of resources on hand up there, both SES and partner agencies. So what we will be doing, that as that water recedes, we will move back into those communities to assess to see if there's been any further damage, and to also assess what properties now need further clean-up after they've only just or still working through doing that now.
Sean, is there any update on the fate of that woman I mentioned who's missing south of Lismore, and how many calls for help did you get and rescues needed to be carried out this time?
Yep, so in the last 24 hours, we've had over 110 calls for assistance and 11 flood rescues during that time. So we would like to remind people that they should not walk, drive or play in floodwater. To be aware of the road conditions, that there still are a number of roads that have water over them or potentially have been damaged. There is still a risk of landslips as well, so we ask people to look at Live Traffic New South Wales for the latest updates.
And still no sign of that woman missing in floodwaters?
We'd have to refer that question to police. We don't have any information about that at this time.
Sean, I interviewed a local city councillor last hour who talked about the communication problems surrounding the most recent evacuation orders. Is it clear to you what went wrong?
So New South Wales SES were issuing warnings to the community in the Northern Rivers and the Mid-North Coast for a number of days leading up to the rain occurring and the flooding occurring. Those warnings indicated that there was severe weather coming that could lead to riverine flooding and also flash flooding. New South Wales SES have a very clear process to issue evacuation warnings and evacuation orders when we believe communities are at risk of being flooded.
Okay. John Kearns, we know that everyone's working so hard up in that region to help everyone get back on their feet after the second time in just over a month. It really is devastating stuff. We appreciate you joining us to give us the very latest. Thank you.
Thanks, Ash.